Today I am going to discuss regarding the external and internal features of heart. So, the first is right atrium. The right atrium is the right upper chamber of the heart. It forms the right border, part of the upper border, the sternocostal surface, and part of the base of the heart. So basically, the right atrium forms the base of the heart. It receives venous blood from the whole body and pump it to the right ventricle through the right atrioventricular or tricuspid valve. The next is the external features of right atrium. The right atrium is vertically elongated. It receives the superior vena cava at the upper end and the inferior vena cava at the lower end. Sulcus terminalis is the extending part from the superior vena cava to the inferior vena cava. Along the right border of atrium is a shallow vertical groove. The Achaia node is situated near the upper part of the sulcus terminalis. Next, the veins draining into right atrium. First is superior vena cava, next inferior vena cava, coronary sinus, anterior cardiac veins, Thebasian veins. So those are the veins which are draining the blood into right atrium from the body. So next is right ventricle. The right ventricle forms the inferior border and a large part of the sternocostal surface of the heart. It is a triangular chamber. It receives deoxygenated blood from the right atrium and pumps it to the lung through the pulmonary trunk or pulmonary valve. So, right ventricle receives blood from the right atrium and pumps the blood to the lungs through pulmonary artery or pulmonary trunk. Then next is the papillary muscle. The papillary muscles are present at right ventricle. There are three papillary muscle in the right ventricle, that is anterior, posterior and septal. Posterior or inferior papillary muscle is small, irregular in shape. Each papillary muscle is attached by chordae tendineae. So, the papillary muscles are present at right ventricle. So, papillary muscles are three types, that is anterior, posterior and septal. The posterior inferior papillary muscle is small and irregular in shape. Each papillary muscle is attached by chordae tendineae. Then left atrium. The left atrium, it forms the left two-thirds of the base of the heart. So it forms the left two-thirds of the base of the heart. The greater part of upper border, parts of the sternocostal and left surface and part of the left border of the heart. So it forms the left border of the heart. This chamber receives oxygenated blood from the lungs through four pulmonary veins and pumps it to the left ventricle through left atrioventricular or bicuspid valve. So, this chamber receives oxygenated blood from the lungs through four pulmonary veins and pump those blood to the left ventricle through left atrioventricular valve or bicuspid valve or mitral valve. Two pulmonary veins open into the left atrium on each side of the posterior wall. So, two pulmonary veins open into the left atrium on each side of the posterior wall. From the picture, you can understand the pulmonary veins. Now, the left ventricle receives oxygenated blood from the left atrium and pumps it into the aorta. It forms the apex of the heart, a part of the sternocostal surface. The left 2/3 of the diaphragmatic surface. So, left ventricle receives oxygenated blood from the left atrium and it pumps the blood into the aorta, and the blood goes through the circulation to the whole of the body. So it forms the apex of the heart, a part of the sternocostal surface, the left 2/3 of the diaphragmatic surface. Next, the nerve supply of heart. The heart is supplied by autonomic nerve fibers. Parasympathetic fibers are derived from both vagus nerves, and sympathetic fibers are derived from sympathetic trunks. Both these fibers form a network called cardiac plexus. So, stimulation of sympathetic nerves result in first increased heart rate, that is tachycardia, increased force of contraction, dilatation of coronary arteries that result in increased blood flow and availability of more oxygen and nutrients for myocardium. So, dilatation of coronary arteries resulting in increased blood flow and availability of more oxygen and nutrients for myocardium. So, stimulation of sympathetic nerves results increased heart rate, increased force of contraction and dilatation of coronary arteries. Next, stimulation of vagus nerves result in slowing of heart rate, that is bradycardia, reduction in the force of contraction and constriction of coronary arteries. So, stimulation of sympathetic nerves results increased in heart rate, increase in force of contraction and dilatation of coronary arteries. And the opposite results are shown in stimulation of vagus nerve, that is slowing of heart rate, that is bradycardia, reduction in force of contraction and constriction of coronary arteries. So this is the nerve supply of heart.